that camera today?
No, we'll swap to
Between, yeah, testimony.
camera.
Okay, I think we're ready.
It's that one, I think, over there.
Did you find it?
Maybe it's not.
Can I get like your ID to make copies?
Oh, it's this one. In the back.
Later. Yeah.
All right, good morning, Chair Postman, members Garrett and Vollendroff. The lobby is open and the recording has begun.
Thanks, Dustin. We'll convene the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board meeting for Wednesday, September 14th, 2022. We're going to start today with an executive session. The board's going to go into executive session to evaluate the qualifications of an applicant for public employment or to review the performance of a public employee. We've scheduled 20 minutes for this. If we finish before that, we'll come back and we will stand at ease until 10:20. If we need more than that, we'll come back at 10:20 and set a new time, though I really do expect and hope we'll finish it at 10:20. So with that, we will stand at ease so we can move into executive session.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. 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 Morning.
I am doing well.
Mike, they should sign up.
I am looking.
David, okay.
You guys are gonna talk about.
Get her done.
Sometimes when you turn on this, it recaps like the last, I've never seen it do this much, but
Public hearing.
it would show me that.
Well,
So weird.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right.
Just think we had a coffee. Don't know if I can go up there.
Are we back? Here. Okay.
Yes.
We will reconvene. Thank you all for your patience. We have ended our executive session. We'll return to our regular agenda. The first thing is just the general reminders. All the meetings are recorded. They'll be available on our website by the end of the day usually. We've got a fair number of people in the room with us today, so just note the microphones that are around here are very sensitive. They'll pick up everything, including side conversations, rustling paper, and all that. So if you need to have a sidebar conversations, just step into the lobby. It'll help the people who are online. We have two opportunities for public comment period. I just want to be really clear. We have, as we do every board meeting, general public comment where you can sign up and talk about anything you want for 4 minutes. But then we also have the official public hearing on our social equity rules. And I would just ask that if you're here to talk about social equity and you want it to be part of that official record, let's do that during the public hearing part for the rule package. And I will check with you when we get to that point to make sure, and you'll have that option if you want. If, you know, it's up to you, but if you're talking about social equity and you're doing it during the general public comment, it isn't necessary. I mean, we obviously hear it and all that, but let's try to keep it in the official record. I think those are the announcements we need to make at this point. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Chandra Brady, our Director of Enforcement Education, for a very important presentation.
Hello, thank you, Board Chair Postman, Board Member Vollendroff, and Board Member Garrett. I did just want to point out that I've been with the LCB now for 18 months, and this is the first time that I have stood at this podium for a presentation. So times they are changing. I'm Chandra Brady, the Director of Enforcement Education, and I'm here this morning to recognize Ron Rupke. If you would come up, Ron. Ron has 30 years overall in state service. He has served at 3 state agencies. 25 years of that was at the State Patrol, 2 at Department of Health, and then 3 now this month, right, with the LCB. So clearly someone who is dedicated to public service in the state of Washington, public safety. Interesting fact that you may not know about Ron is, as the Deputy Chief of Operations for our division, he implements and oversees our mission and operations, daily operations for the division, but also he applied initially for this job as an LEO2 to work as an officer. And when his history as an assistant chief for the State Patrol and his skills and abilities are recognized, they talked to him about the potential opening in a deputy chief spot. So thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
Deputy Chief, it's really, the years of service are impressive no matter what, but the jobs you've done have been some of the hardest. I know a little bit about what it's like to be at that level of State Patrol. And so, first of all, just thankful that you did that for the patrol and that you're able to keep on it and joined us here. And just, you know, in my time, which is less than the director's time here, you are such a great number 2 there and willing to step in and answer questions and I think are a great public face for this agency and have helped the board members a lot. So just, you know, these are the things we should be saying even when you haven't been here 30 years, but it gives us that opportunity to stand here and let you know just how valued you are and how appreciative we are of that career of public service.
Thank you very much, sir. It's been my honor to serve for 30 years for state government here, the last 3 years at LCB. So thank you for your kind words.
That's
Appreciate
great. Yeah, Rick Garza has,
Sorry about that.
comment. That's right, please.
Ron, really appreciate it as we made the transition to a new director of enforcement, your leadership during that time. One thing became more clear to me: steady, calm, collected, just kind of thorough, the way that you analyze and give us feedback and help us make decisions. Very professional. It's that long career, I'm guessing, with the State Patrol, but just really want to thank you for your service to us and look forward to the years ahead. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
And now Gina McShane, the Deputy Director of Licensing Regulation, has another important presentation. Good morning.
Good morning, Board Postman, members Garrett and Vollendroff. My name is Gina McShane. I'm the Deputy Director of Licensing for the Liquor and Cannabis Board. Today, it is my absolute honor and pleasure to recognize Merwell Guzman for her 35 years of state service. It's quite an accomplishment that I'm happy to celebrate with you and with the whole LCB family today. Merwell is with us remotely today, so as are many of her coworkers. So happy to see you here today, Merwell. 33 of Merwell's years of service have been with the Liquor and Cannabis Board customer service team, which is phenomenal. She has witnessed so many changes at the LCB. Just in the last 10 years, she has helped guide our customers through the privatization of spirit sales and the creation of the legal cannabis market. The customer service team receives over 1,400 calls a month. You can bet that many thousands of Washington's residents have received calm and helpful advice from Merwell over the years. The customer service team is the front door to the agency, and Merwell is often the one opening the door and welcoming folks in. She has assisted the residents of this state from Vancouver to Pend Oreille, from Forks to Clarkston, and everywhere in between. Not to mention the thousands of out-of-state and international callers that she has helped navigate Washington state liquor laws. Merwell has carried almost every role in customer service, from receiving and verifying new applications to issuing special occasion licenses. For some context to the changes Merwell has helped the agency through, imagine 15 years ago, we only received about 1,200 special occasion license applications a year. Now we receive over 6,000 a year. The unit has grown from about 4 staff to 17 customer service and support staff. And over the last 15 years, Merwell has become our permit and added endorsements guru, and we wouldn't know what to do without her. She patiently explains the rules and regulations to thousands of applicants and to me each year, and helps them to get the right permit for their projects. Beth Lehman, Merwell's manager, described Merwell this way, quote, "Merwell has spent the years being not only a great coworker, mentor, trainer, but a good friend to all. She is genuinely kind and compassionate and wants to only help the licensees and permittees in Washington state. She's known for going above and beyond for not only the external customers, but I get compliments from enforcement and every other division she works with." I've had the honor of working with Merwell for 7 years. I'm thankful every day for her quiet wisdom, understanding, and patience. We've been so lucky for her to be part of our family for the last 33 years. I'm hoping she'll grace us for another 33. Today, I'd like to present Merwell with this plaque. In honor of her many years of service. It says 35 years of service, 1987. Think about what you were doing in 1987 to 2022. With deepest gratitude for your outstanding service, loyalty, and dedication, thank you. So Merwell, on behalf of the licensing division, I want to congratulate you on 35 years of service. Thank you so much for all you do for us.
Thank you so much, Jeannie. I think I would like to thank the board for this recognition, for the time that you put into this. Thank you so much. Yeah, I would like to thank licensing management team. Yeah, thank you, Becky, Jeannie, Manager Beth, my supervisor, Terry. Thank you for all your support over the years. And thank you all. I'm honored to be working here at LCB for all these years. Such a great agency with great group of people. Thank you so much.
Great. And I think I missed board members' hands earlier, so comment, board member Volendroff? Nope. I missed you, sorry, okay. Oh, it's disappeared. Merwell, wherever you are. Thank you, and it's an honor to have somebody, oh, there you are, hello again. To have somebody here for this length of time and who've been so instrumental in all these really crazy changes that you have seen over those years here and what this agency looks like today. I'm sure you could not have imagined when you started that we'd be regulating cannabis, for example, or that we would have sold off our liquor stores for that matter. So thank you on behalf of the board. It's really impressive. And it's just good to know that we have people in this building and in this operation like you and Deputy Chief Rupke, who are just such dedicated public servants. It means a ton to us. So thank you. Okay. And Rick Garza again.
Thank you. Merle, I was really happy to have a chance to recognize you today on behalf of all the employees and the board. You are the model of a state employee, professional, customer service driven. I've watched you over the years that I've been here, and a couple of things that Jeannie spoke to that I just can't go without saying. Kind, thoughtful, patient, even in the face of customers that can be rude and impatient. And I know specifically in that unit that you're in, you deal with a lot of stress and the team deals with a lot of stress from stressful customers that call in. But you're an inspiration. You're exactly the type of model employee that any agency would be proud to have. To have you for 33 years, I have never heard an unkind remark from you in all the years that I've been here. And I've had plenty myself. So Merle, I just want to really recognize you today and thank you so much for what you bring to the organization and your unit. And like was said, I hope you remain with us, but that's quite an accomplishment to have someone like you for 33 years. Thank you, Merle. Thank you, David.
Sure is. Thanks, Rick. Thank you, Merle. Yeah, we were talking about Deputy Chief Rupke's 30 years, and Merle's sitting back there going, I got that beat. Okay, well, that was great. Moving on, we are going to consider a new cannabis compact with the Spokane Tribe of Indians. And I will look to Chris Thompson, our Legislative Director and Tribal Liaison, to present it. I believe we might have some members of the Chris. Oh, there you are. Hello.
Good morning, Board Chair Postman, board members Garrett and Volendroff. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. Back in the summer and fall of 2018, I served on a interim basis as a tribal liaison, and I recall back from that time a number of conversations and efforts with the Spokane tribe around a cannabis compact. So this is the 22nd to come to the board. It clearly wins the Endurance Award and the Stick-to-itiveness Award. But it's very gratifying to be at this point. I think one of the key factors that helped get us to this point was the efforts of the Spokane Tribe's chairwoman, Carol Evans, reaching out and connecting with Chairman Postman and instigating some really productive conversations was a key factor. Another very helpful factor in getting to resolution on this compact was some work by the legislature in the 2022 session, which I'll get to shortly. So typically when I talk with board members about a proposed cannabis compact, the kind of touchstone comparison points are either with our template that we use in starting the process, or with, you know, perhaps most recently approved or reviewed compacts. And, you know, with that sort of frame of reference, I think this one is clearly in the mainstream of most of what has come before the board. One area that is fairly new relates to dispute resolution. So we'd had a number of difficult conversations with our tribal colleagues, partners over the years around dispute resolution. And I don't know if I should still call him relatively new, Assistant Attorney General Leo Rainilla, he kind of took a step back and made an effort to put together a refreshed approach to dispute resolution across all the provisions that we've had in our template. And that was really a very helpful work. The dispute resolution provisions in the compact before you for the Spokane tribe substantially reflects those efforts, as well as conversations and negotiations that Leo conducted with the tribe's attorney, Scott Wheat, and worked out a number of other areas of language that was consensus language. This proposal includes binding arbitration, which is not in most of the cannabis compacts with tribes. That was a dispute resolution, and binding arbitration were an issue of critical importance to the tribe, as it became clear at some point over the long road that we've traveled on this compact. So that's an important kind of breakthrough in these negotiations, but it includes an important carve out for questions of law. So the arbitrators may not determine questions of either state, federal, or tribal law as a part of their authority under this compact. There are a few differences with this dispute resolution article compared to the Hoh tribe compact that you most recently had before you. They're not major or very substantive differences. Questions of law and remedies are a couple of areas where there's a little bit different language. And this has essentially the template provisions on defense of the compact. If there's any scenario where a third party challenges either the state's or the tribe's authority to enter into this agreement, that both parties agree to support their mutual authorities in this area. So we've made, I think, kind of a breakthrough achievement here with the dispute resolution provisions. Another important breakthrough here that's goes back to my comment about the legislature in the 2022 session. And this is the issue dubbed affectionately the comma issue. So this compact has the comma in it. And just so I'm not being too cryptic here, I'll briefly explain what the comma is. Going back to when the legislature first authorized tribal cannabis compacting, there was a strange event that occurred with the codification of that statute. The code revisor inserted a comma that was not in the bill as passed the legislature and signed by the governor. As a result, the LCB did not recognize that comma, and this was the focus of long-running discussions and some pretty sharp disagreements dealing with the scope of authority for the tribe to exempt sales from its tribal cannabis tax. And to simplify it a little bit here, without the comma, there were, we believe, two categories of exemption recognized under statute, state law. With the comma, there would be three areas of exemption. So what happened was the legislature passed House Bill 1210 this session. That bill, primarily what it did was change the word marijuana to the word cannabis across the RCWs. But it also, in the course of that, put the comma in the statute clearly and unambiguously. So as of June 9th, state law has changed, enabling the LCB to shift its position about what we believe state statute authorizes the agency to agree to in a compact. And that shift aligns the agency's view with, at least to some extent, the tribe's view about what the state law says. Maybe not every implication. There might still be things over time that we could find some disagreement around. But this puts to rest a troublesome issue we've talked about for years with this and many other tribes as we've put together negotiations for compacts. So the bottom line is that with the comma, the third category that we now recognize as allowing for exemption relates to cannabis grown, produced, or processed within Indian country, regardless of who the customer might be, tribal or non-tribal. So what that means is we appreciate the legislature resolving this ambiguity, and what that gives us is an opportunity all to more fully recognize tribal sovereignty, I would argue. So that's a very positive development that was hugely helpful in getting the LCB and the Spokane tribe to agreement on the recommended compact before you today. Just a couple other quick comments or observations. This compact envisions and authorizes the tribe to conduct retail production and processing activities. The proposed compact prohibits drive-through service at retail, and that's an issue that we've heard repeatedly from the U.S. Attorney in Western Washington is a key priority for at least those federal authorities. This compact also, at our request, makes the shift in terminology from marijuana to cannabis. So we appreciate the tribe's openness to that change as well. And then finally, I'll note that this compact, unlike any before it, includes a definition of questions of law in the article outlining definitions. And it defines, so that's crucial for the dispute resolution process and the authority of arbitrators under this compact. It defines question of law as a legal issue, the resolution of which requires the interpretation or application of legal authority, and which, were the issue presented to a court, would be within the sole province of a judge to resolve. The remaining provisions of the compact essentially reflect or mirror what we have in our template. So those are, kind of pre-vetted and previously approved provisions and language. I'll mention one final issue with an apology for letting this slip through the cracks. As we were grappling with this very big issue, these very big issues that I've been talking about, we let something slip through the cracks in the document that we have today. There's a technical problem that should be fixed. There's some obsolete references in here to the state traceability system. As you know, that system has been retired and replaced with CCRS, the Central Reporting System. But we didn't catch that, as well as the fact that that shift also included a change to the frequency of reporting for cannabis operations from every 24 hours to weekly. So with that, I'll conclude my presentation. I'd be happy to try and answer any questions you might have, and I would share that the staff recommendation here would be for the board to authorize correcting of those obsolete references. And with that, with those changes, then we commend this proposed cannabis compact to you for approval.
Are there any questions of Chris at this point? Seeing none, I want to take a moment though and introduce Chairwoman Carol Evans from the Spokane Tribe of Indians, who, as Chris mentioned, was obviously instrumental in getting us to this point. And the chairwoman's engagement, patience, and pushing was invaluable to us. So, Chairwoman Evans, do you have a few things you'd like to say?
Yes, can you hear me?
Sure can. Hello. Good morning.
A good day, my friends and relatives. Tsamasa Fluhis Quest. Tsamasa is my Indian name and my English name is Carol Evans. And as introduced, I'm the chairwoman of the Spokane Tribal Business Council. And I just wanted to offer a few remarks. First of all, the Spokane Tribe, as I'm sure you're aware of, is located in eastern Washington. Our reservation is approximately 158,000 acres, and my ancestors were a salmon people, and we're in the blocked area, and we continue to work on salmon reintroduction. At the same time, our reservation is nearly surrounded by water, and we're really blessed to be able to be in that situation. Regarding the compact and the process, I just wanted to thank the staff for their patience as we continued to negotiate. These points that were discussed were very important to us. We truly believe that it's better for us to try to work out any differences through an arbitration process rather than just jump to litigation, and so we really wanted to work that out, and then the comma issue. So we really appreciate the staff, and I especially appreciate Mr. Postman's time that he spent with me and talking these issues out. I felt that I was being listened to, and all of everything that was discussed seemed to be an open dialogue and transparent. And I really appreciate that and appreciate doing business that way, because I like to be heard. Our tribe likes to be heard. And in the end, we like to do some type of consensus building on what we agree to, because this is going to help our people plus the people in the community. So we just really appreciate that. And we really look forward to working with the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board as we go into the operation phase, and really ask that you do approve this compact. Thank you. She uhoy lemlem. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Chairwoman Evans, so much. And thanks for the kind words. I too appreciated that opportunity to work with you on this. There were times when some people wondered if we would get this done or get this done in any reasonable amount of time, and we did. And so I really appreciate that. I'm also honored to be able to be here and to support this compact to help the Spokanes and their continuing economic development, and the government-to-government relationship has been strong between the tribe and the state for years. I remember the day in the morning in 2016 when I had the honor to call you to tell you the decision the governor had made about the casino siting, and that too was meaningful to us in the governor's office, and so we continue to value that relationship. So thank you. And with that, we'll entertain a motion to adopt the compact contingent on fixing the one small thing that Chris mentioned, and so our signatures would be attached to it after that is corrected. So with that, is there a motion to approve the compact?
This is Ali. I move that we approve the compact with the corrections of the changes.
And this is Jim. I second that motion.
Great, and then I agree too, of course, and so that's unanimously approved, and as soon as that's done, we'll put our signatures on it, we'll get it over to the governor's office for his signature as soon as we can. So, thank you all, and thank you, Chris, thank you, Leo, from our side, and Scott, the attorney from the other side. We don't always thank our attorneys, but they too stuck this out and worked on it well, so thanks, everybody. Okay.
Thank you.
We will move to rulemaking timelines from policy and rules team achievements and also staffing updates. Dr. Hoffman, over to you.
Thank you, Chair Postman, and good morning to you and Board Member Garrett and Vollendroff. So I'll start with rules updates today, and I'll start with cannabis. At the last board meeting, you approved 2 CR 101 or rule inquiries into cannabis and advertising. I mean, cannabis, canopy, and advertising. And we anticipate that these are going to be large and very complex projects. And like all of our rule and policy projects, we do center equity to frame the work moving forward. So since we're in the very early stages of rule development for each of these projects, we're in the process of designing our stakeholder engagement approaches because they're going to be different for each project. So for canopy, we will be hosting an engagement opportunity based on the World Cafe model on the afternoon of October 2nd to explore topics related to plant canopy. We selected this approach for this project based on feedback we heard earlier this year and to provide a space for all licensees across all license types and tiers to share ideas and thinking about what is working, what isn't working, and what the pathway forward might look like, and to help us frame our policy discussions. For advertising, we're using a more workshop-oriented approach to rule development, meaning that we'll work with internal staff to come up with draft conceptual rules as we usually do. And our rules coordinators will then present these to stakeholders for comment on the concepts and perhaps even specific language rather than section by section as we have with our listen and learn model in the past. And at this time, we anticipate the first stakeholder meeting to take place around the first week of November, if not sooner. Consistent with the agenda today, Robert will be presenting a request to withdraw the 101 on the THC cannabinoids rule project, and he'll tell you a little bit more about that later. And I'll provide a brief technical background on the social equity rule project before we open the hearing on that. So moving on to alcohol and general rule development, Audrey will be presenting the CR 103 for adoption today and the implementation of Senate Bill 5940 regarding contract packaging services endorsements. And also with respect to the expedited project to update obsolete addresses in Title 314 WAC. So those are all of our rules that was filed on August 17th. We haven't received any comments to date. So I'll stop there and see if there's any questions on those timelines.
None for me. I don't see any. Thank you.
Thank you. So next, I'd like to take a look at the rules team achievements and recognize them for this, but most notably recognize what they've done during the second and third quarters of this year. So that's April 1st through the end of this month. They've completed 3 complete rule projects. So that was electronic transmission of documents, axe throwing, replacing the word marijuana with cannabis throughout all of our rules, and then the pesticide action models work. They've also provided recommendations to you on 5 rule petitions that they provided at the last board meeting. 4 of those were approved. And depending on today's action in the board meeting, we may have another approval as well to add to that list. I want to add that there's a lot of work that goes into preparing recommendations on rules petitions. There's a great deal of background research that happens, working with other divisions, calling petitioners sometime to get additional information. And I think our team does a really good job of distilling all of that information and presenting it very neatly to you in our recommendations. So I want to thank our rules coordinators for all that great work. In addition to the updates that I just gave on the works in progress. So I'll stop there.
Okay. We're good.
Any questions or concerns or, okay. All right, and then next, I'd like to.
Other than the ongoing concern about how much stuff you guys have. But
Right,
other than
right,
that,
there's always
no.
that,
Yes.
okay. And then finally, I want to provide some staffing updates to you today that are pretty significant. So first, I want to share that Audrey has accepted a position as counsel with the Office of Program Research for the House of Representatives. And her last day with us is September 30th. And I hope everyone will join me in thanking her for her contributions to the agency and the state. She's guided us through some very complex rural projects with grace and professionalism. And I'm glad we could be a part of her professional journey. And then next, Robert will be transitioning into a more law-focused work, and his last day with the agency is October 15th. I hope everyone will join us in thanking Robert for his service as well. And we're glad to be a part of his professional journey. And I'm going to take a minute of personal privilege here, if I could.
Of course.
And say, while I have mixed feelings that staff are moving on, I also believe that this is the kind of movement that happens because we create an environment where people can grow. And watching our staff use their talents and abilities to experience new things in new places, I think is affirmation of that. So Audrey and Robert, we wish you the very best and want to remind you that you can see us and what we're up to every Tuesday and Wednesday on TVW, and it's recorded in case you miss it. So just a way for us to stay in touch. So what does all of that mean for the policy and rules team? We started recruiting for these positions at the end of August, and we will begin the interview process in the coming weeks. It also means that we won't be able to move forward with rule development on the accepted rule petitions until we're fully staffed again. And I anticipate at this point, we're looking at about a 1 or 2 month delay there. So just asking for some understanding during this time of transition, but we're looking forward to quickly regaining our momentum and achieving the same development and completion pace as we have this year and last. So I'll stop there. Any
Okay.
questions, concerns, comments?
You wouldn't have that delay if you stop having staff that wants to grow and learn.
Well, it's
You're
true.
going to
but
do that.
yeah.
If I just address your staff for a moment, Robert and Audrey, just want to thank you both for all the work you do. You have very hard jobs and very precise work that you have to do. And I'm sure part of the hardest is explaining all of these things to me. And you both have been nothing but polite, even when I bet you might want to roll your eyes, but you've always been good. And more than once, swear to God, I've asked a question and then they very politely will point to the paper that's in front of me and they have the answer right there. So they really were thorough, and I appreciate that. But I will say that if you take Kathy's guidance and you watch us on TVW on Tuesdays, I'm really going to worry about you. And I hope that you find things that keep you engaged enough that you don't feel the need to watch TVW late at night to see the reruns of us. So with that, I will turn back to you,
All
I
right, and
suppose.
that's the end of our
Okay,
updates.
great.
Thank you.
And now we will make departing staff continue to work up until the last minute. Ms. Vasek will first present the rules petition review and consideration that would allow private clubs to add additional membership drives. Ms. Vasek.
Thank you, Chair Postman, and thank you, Kathy, for those kind words.
Good morning.
Thank you also Board Member Garrett and Volendroff for the opportunity to be here this morning. And I apologize if I'm a little bit under the weather, so if you can't hear me, let me know, and I'm trying to speak up. But
We turned you up, you're coming through great.
Okay, great. Thank you. So today I'm presenting the staff recommendation on the rule petition the board received on July 28th from Keith Laurent on behalf of the Vancouver Elks. So this rule petition requests the board amend WAC 314-40040 subsection 6 to allow private clubs to add 1 additional membership drive per calendar quarter for a total of 8 per year and host a consecutive membership drive during 1 quarter per calendar year. The petition states the reason for this request is, quote, to be able to reach out to the community more and showcase the good works we do within our community, the state of Washington, and across the nation, end quote. So the issue presented by this petition is whether the board should initiate the rulemaking process to consider amending existing rules to allow private clubs to add additional membership drives and host consecutive membership drives where club liquor may be given or sold. So for background, a private club is defined in statute as, quote, an organization of persons incorporated or unincorporated operated solely for fraternal, benevolent, educational, athletic, or social purposes and not for pecuniary gain. In order to be eligible for a spirits, beer, and wine private club license, a private club must be, quote, a bona fide private club where the sale of liquor is incidental to the main purposes of the spirits, beer, and wine private club. And just to share some background data, as of last month, there are currently 307 spirit, beer, wine private club licensees in the state and 10 beer, wine private club licensees. So under the current rules, private clubs are generally not allowed to serve alcohol during events that are open to the public. However, WAC 314-40040 subsection 6, which is the subject of this rule petition request, provides an exception for alcohol service at public membership drives where the purpose is to, quote, recruit new members and build club membership, end quote. So if a private club wants to hold a membership drive where club liquor may be given or sold to those attending as part of a membership drive activities, they are currently allowed to do so 1 day per calendar quarter for a total of 4 times per year, but not on consecutive dates. I would also like to note this rule section was last amended in 2017 in response to a rule petition, increasing the number of membership drives allowed from 2 days per calendar year to the current number of 1 day per calendar quarter or 4 per year. So it's gone up since 2017. In discussing this petition with agency staff from the Enforcement and Education Division, Licensing Division, and Public Health and Education Liaison, we found there are a couple issues to consider when evaluating the risks and benefits of this request, such as potential public health and safety impacts and related impacts to agency resources. So membership drives where club liquor can be provided to the general public may have a greater public health and safety impact than the typical private club event where club liquor is not allowed to be provided to the general public. For example, if large numbers of the general public visit a private club during a membership drive where club liquor can be given for free or sold to attendees, the potential risks for overservice of alcohol, alcohol-related disorderly conduct, impaired driving, and youth access may increase at the licensed location. So if rulemaking is initiated on this subject, agency staff find it will be important to work with stakeholders to explore ways to mitigate those public health and safety concerns. And related to that concern, additional LCB enforcement education staff time may be needed to visit these events in person and work with private clubs on education and compliance. So there could be some impact to agency resources, and if rulemaking is initiated on this subject, staff find it will be important to work with stakeholders to explore the ways that the LCB can provide education to private clubs and assist with compliance. So as identified in this petition, the main benefit of the request will be to allow private clubs to do more outreach and potentially increase their membership numbers. With respect to this point, agency staff would also like to note board regulations only impact membership drives that involve alcohol. So private clubs can already hold as many membership drives as they wish as long as alcohol is not a part of those drive activities. So considering those potential risks and benefits, Director's Office staff find that opening up this subject for inquiry and public discussion would be worthwhile. Initiating the rulemaking process as requested in this petition would allow the LCB to begin collaboratively engaging with stakeholders and any other interested members of the public to explore the possibility of allowing private clubs to add additional membership drives. For this reason, the staff recommendation is to accept the rule petition today. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. Any questions on private clubs? Seeing none. Okay, thank you for that presentation. And is there a motion to adopt the rules petition to allow private clubs to have 1 additional membership drive per calendar quarter and host a consecutive membership drive during 1 quarter per calendar year?
I make a motion that we review the rulemaking, that the rulemaking process be initiated to amend the WAC to allow private additional clubs. Yes.
Great.
This is Ali, I second.
Great. Okay, then that is approved. And we'll keep you there, Ms. Vasek, for the next one, which is the rulemaking implement legislation from last session. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Postman, and thank you again, Board Member Garrett and Board Member Volendrop. So today I'm also requesting the board adopt the final rules and approve the CR 103 for implementing 2022 legislation, Senate Bill 5940, which created a new contract packaging services endorsement for breweries, wineries, and distilleries. So this endorsement allows breweries, wineries, and distilleries to contract with each other to provide certain packaging services such as canning, bottling, bagging, mixing, and repacking. So for background, on April 27th, the board filed a CR 101 pre-proposal statement of inquiry to begin considering creating new rule sections and amending existing rule sections as necessary to implement the bill. To develop the rule language, we held a series of internal project team meetings with LCB staff from the Licensing Division, Enforcement and Education Division, and Finance Division. The LCB project team created conceptual draft rules that we shared publicly for feedback through Gov Delivery in June 2022. Comments on the draft rules that the agency received were included in attachment B to the CR 102 memo and were taken into consideration as the rule proposal language was developed. On July 20th, 2022, the board filed the CR 102 rule proposal. During the public comment period from July 20th to August 31st, the board did not receive any public comments and no one came to testify at the public hearing held at the August 31st board meeting. So the final rules before you for adoption today are the same as the proposed rules. There are no changes between the two versions. So in summary, the final rules would create 3 new rule sections and amend 1 existing rule section. The 3 new rule sections describe the endorsement and how to apply, and 1 new section will be added to the breweries chapter, 1 to the wineries chapter, and 1 to the distilleries chapter. The amendments to the existing rule section, WAC 314.11.065, would align the rule language with the new endorsement by allowing endorsement holders to keep other types of liquor on their premises as needed to provide contract packaging services. If the board adopts the final rules today, the effective date of the rules will be 31 days later on October 15th. And if adopted, I will update the public-facing rules webpage and work with the communications team to send a message to Gov Delivery subscribers and other interested members of the public. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't see any on this, so is there a motion to adopt the CR 103 for implementing Senate Bill 5940 on contract packaging services?
This is Ali. I move that we approve the adoption of the CR 103 for implementing the 2022 legislation on packaging.
And a second?
And I will second that motion.
Great. And then that is approved. Very good. Thank you, Ms. Basic. Thanks for everything. And I guess this is your last board meeting with us, right?
I'll be here on the 28th, so
Okay.
1 more after this.
We'll save
you.
that. Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Audrey.
Moving to the cannabis side of the operation, Robert Despain will present the withdrawal of CR 101 on expanding definitions related to evaluation of additives, et cetera. Sir.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Postman, Board Member Garrett, and Board Member Vollendroff. Thank you for your kind words and for your time. As you just mentioned, today I'm requesting approval to withdraw the CR 101 related to identifying and further defining terms related to the production and processing of cannabis products. For background, the board adopted new WAC section 314.55.560 concerning the evaluation of additives, solvents, ingredients, and compounds used in the production of cannabis products on January 5th of this year. These rules became effective on February 5th and defined the terms, among other things, defined the terms additive, solvent, ingredient, and compound. During the 2022 legislative session, the agency introduced a bill that included additional definitions related to the production and processing of cannabis products. This legislation was not enacted during this past session. So this CR 101 was filed on May 11th of this year to explore creating new, amending, or repealing existing rule sections, the aforementioned 314.55.560, and also WAC 314.55.010, which is the definitions section, as necessary to identify and further define terms, including but not limited to additives, solvents, ingredients, compounds, and concentrates used in the production and processing of cannabis products. During the CR 101 public comment period from May 11th through July 1st, 2022, the agency received 2 public comments Included with this withdrawal memo is attachment C. On July 28th of this year, a public listen and learn forum was held virtually through Teams that gave stakeholders the opportunity to provide additional direct comments on the conceptual draft rules that amended WAC 314-55-560. 45 people attended the session live, and 5 oral comments were received during the forum. 3 additional written comments were received by email, 1 before the session began and 2 after the session concluded. All of these comments are included with the withdrawal memo as attachment D. After reviewing the conceptual draft rules shared with the public and considering the totality of public comments received during both the open comment period and the listen and learn forum, agency staff find that additional definitions related to the production and/or processing of cannabis products should be introduced through legislation, and as a result, we're recommending withdrawal of the CR 101. So if the board approves the withdrawal, it will be filed later today with the code revisor for publication in the state register. The public webpage will also be updated, and a notice will be sent to stakeholders through GovDelivery. So that concludes the presentation, and I will pause to see if you have any questions.
I don't see any questions on this, so we will entertain a motion to withdraw the CR 101, expanding definitions related to the evaluation of additives, solvents, ingredients, compounds, or concentrates used in the production or processing of cannabis products.
This is Jim. I move that we withdraw CR 101, expanding definitions related to the evaluation of additives, solvents, ingredients, compounds, or concentrates used in the production or processing of cannabis products.
And a second?
This is Ali, I second.
And it's approved. Thank you, Mr. Despain.
Thanks again for your time.
Yep.
Thank you, Robert.
Now we're going to move to the public hearing on the social equity rulemaking, and first we'll have Dr. Hoffman give us a presentation, and then we'll come back to talk about the logistics, please.
All right, thanks, Chair Postman, and good morning again to you, Member Volendroff and Member Garrett. I'm just going to provide a brief technical background on this rule project, so we have more time to spend in hearing. So first of all, we filed the CR 101 in late October. So that was October 27th of last year, and the public comment period on that particular document ended on December 17th. No comments were received during that time. We then began rule drafting that followed 2 separate tracks. The first track was revisions and updates to existing cannabis licensing rules, and then the creation of the new rule section, and that's WAC 314-55-570 that established the social equity in cannabis program. We hosted a virtual listen and learn session on those draft conceptual rules on March 23rd, and we had over 120 individuals in attendance at that session. We finalized the proposal, brought it to you on April 13th, so that was the original CR 102 that was proposed in this matter. And after we reviewed that proposal, had some additional internal and external discussion, we decided to withdraw it, and we did so at the board meeting on May 11th. And that gave us some additional time to do research, outreach, and analysis. And so the culmination of all those efforts resulted in the proposal that you approved for hearing today, but you approved it on August 3rd. We do recognize that there's a couple of typos in the proposed rules, and those are what are considered to be non-substantive changes that we'll address before we get to rule adoption. So I'll stop there and ask if there are any questions.
Any questions before we open the public hearing? No. Okay,
all right, thank you.
All right, a couple just general reminders. It's all recorded. We're going to begin the public hearing with those that are in the room here, and then we'll move to those that have joined virtually. In both cases, we'll be patient, and you be patient till you get set either at the podium or online, and you have audio and video enabled. When you start, please state your name and affiliation. You have 4 minutes. When you hit 30 seconds, if you're in the building, you'll see a clock. But if not, you'll hear Dustin remind you that you have 30 seconds. And then at the end of that 4 minutes, we're really going to ask you to finish the sentence you're on. Don't make it a run-on sentence. Periods, not commas. And then we will move on. So we've still got work to do here. So we're going to try to keep everybody to 4 minutes. Just as a reminder, there are a couple of people who signed up under general public comment, and I just want to say if you're speaking about the rulemaking, you might want to do it during the public hearing, and I'll give you a chance to call on folks in just a minute at the end of those that we have signed up. So the first person I have signed up here in the room is Peter Manna. Sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, Board Member Ali Garrett and Board Member Chairman and Board Member Volendroff. My name is Peter Manning with Black Excellence Cannabis. And we are pleased to move forward with LCB on the current rulemaking that they currently presented or are presenting today. We have some concerns about mobility, like we stated this in the past, and we also have some concerns when it pertains to certificate holders. We're not sure exactly how that will apply or how that will work out, but as stated before, we look at there's a very positive side to this, and that is that the LCB, under the leadership of David Postman, has really taken a turn, is really reaching out to the community. We do recognize that. We appreciate that. We have some concerns, as stated. Social equity is new to Washington, and it's in its feeble stage. And I think that what we have to do is be careful of what we pile on top of it, and think the more we put on it, the less likely it will succeed. A lot of people we know would like to see it fail for obvious reasons, financial. And I also think that what we should do as a community, that along with the LCB, we should also pay very close attention that the mobility issue is something we should look at and really understand that that's what we should work on the most when it pertains to social equity, because the people that were most harmed by the war on drugs currently, as it stands under the social equity bill that's being proposed or it's going to pass today or whatnot, it's not going to really be equity in a sense, because the neighborhoods that we grew up in, we won't be allowed to open up a store. We'll be in areas that we're not familiar with, and that people in that area that do not look like us or in our neighborhood. So I'm concerned there as well. What type of, how do we correct that, or how do we deal with that? And that's something that is troubling for me to grasp my mind around. I currently live in the DIA area. I stay in Skyway and have a harvest there, and that's right in my neighborhood, and it's not Black owned. And the way we're moving with the social equity now, it looks like there won't be a Black owned store in that area because of the zoning issues and whatnot. But the point I'm trying to make here is, we see the LCB and what they're doing, and we believe you guys are moving in the right direction. We applaud you guys for that. But I just think that we gotta look at things a little bit closer and analyze it and see how we can really make it work for everybody. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your comments. Next person signed up is Mike Kasai.
Good morning, board member or chair Postman and board members Ali Garrett and Valendroff, and to the public here. My name is Mike Kasai with Emerald City Collective. We were the first downtown Seattle collective, 2010, 2011. I'm also the vice president of Black Excellence in Cannabis. I won't probably be as long as Peter. I'm usually long-winded, but not this morning. I want to back everything that Peter said in regards to the mobility issue. As I've stated on many occasions, and as Peter stated, this is a big issue going forward. We do appreciate the hard work the LCB has put in. I've seen it. I've seen the changes. And I want to personally thank Ali Garrett, as I know she's been very instrumental before you arrived, Postman, and also Valendroff, with all due respect. She was very instrumental in getting with Peter Manning and Paula Sardinas and former Representative Pettigrew and a lot of others. So I want to thank Ollie for her hard work in that. But we still got some more hard work to go. It's just going to look bad if we get these licenses out and there's no mobility fix. We understand that the board is trying with the mobility within the county. We believe that you can make it mobile within the state. So however it can be done, let's get it done. Let's work together. Let's continue to work together. We're here to work together. We're not here to fight. We're going to agree. We're going to disagree. But I think we have a common goal. I see that from Governor Inslee. As he has stated before, he's going to make some changes within LCB. So we do appreciate that. Also appreciate, Rick Garza as well, as I know he's was here in the time that things were bad. And I believe he's also still here to make things right. And so I want to thank him for that. And I'm going to hold him accountable. And I'm going to hold Mr. Garza to that. And so just as well as the LCB. With that being said, let's move forward. I've waited a long time, just like a lot of other former dispensary owners have waited a long time. And also those who are Black and brown looking to get into the market have waited a long time. So we don't want any more delays. We want to move forward. COVID has delayed a lot of things. Here we are 2 years later. We're just ready to get this thing going and continue to work with the LCB on the mobility issue. And also, as we know, 40 licenses are not enough for equity or equality. But we'll continue to work as Black Essence Cannabis is fighting for inclusion, continue to work with the LCB to achieve the goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That is it for people in the room. We have one person to start virtually, Sean Curtis.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Please, go ahead.
I was actually wanting to speak to you guys about the social equity. That's about the licenses you guys are doing for felons that have been incarcerated for non-violent drug offenses, if I'm correct.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to, I think that that's a very great opportunity for the people that have been incarcerated. I'm also looking into I'm working with a few of the state senators to set up a delivery service for cannabis to help bring in the revenue and help medical patients and that can't get around very well, and also to help minimize the people that are intoxicated on the streets, on the roads. So I'm trying to bring this proposal up and just wanted to get in touch with the board and see where we can go from there. Okay. And I would also like to find out about petitioning for one of those licenses for the felons and the social equity licenses and how I would go about that.
Okay, great. So on both, actually, if you want to, I don't know, well, I guess we have your email. We can send you an email and connect you with people who can help you with that. There isn't, public hearing is today. We will adopt this probably at our first meeting in October is the plan. And then it'll take a while before it actually is active. But yeah, we will, later today, hopefully, or tomorrow, we'll connect you with by email with someone who can answer your questions in more detail.
That's awesome. Thank you guys very much for your time. I just wanted to get in touch, like I said, and I appreciate your guys' time today.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the last people who've been signed up for the public hearing. Let me just check if I can with the people that have signed up for general comment to see if anybody or
nobody in person.
No, I know, but I mean, we have 3 virtual public comments. Yep. Yeah. So I guess I would just, I don't know how we can do this, Dustin. I just want to see Sammy Saad, Christopher King, and David Busby. If any of you are wanting to talk about the social equity rule proposal, this would be an opportunity. But
David Busby specifically asked for general comments.
Okay, great. So not David Busby, who specifically wanted that. So, okay, we will just move ahead then and close the public hearing on the social equity and cannabis rule package. And again, our hope would be that this is back before us for approval in our first meeting in October. Appreciate everybody's hard work, and we'll have more to say about this, obviously, when it comes before us for approval of that package. We're now to the last item on the agenda, which is general public comment. This is the time where anybody can speak to us about anything. Here's our reminders again. It's all recorded. When we call on you, we'll give you a chance, or you got to give us a chance to enable your video and audio. And when you do, state your name and affiliation. And again, 4 minutes. Everybody gets 4 minutes. You'll get a reminder when you have 30 seconds left, and then we'll ask you to wrap up quickly. And so with that, the first person I have signed up is David Busby. David?
You guys receiving okay?
I hear you.
Awesome. Thank you. David Busby with OpenTHC. Been building, large scale computer systems and businesses for like at least 20 years. And I am here to say that I love the policy of how CCRS has been implemented, but I don't like at all the technology behind how CCRS has been implemented. When the system was first deployed, a bunch of the integrators, we had our first sit down and the show and tell from the LCB. Many of those integrators, myself included, raised a bunch of issues with the system, and those issues continue to play out daily. It's frustrating for those integration partners, to be ignored and told by the LCB that we know best. We're not talking about implementation. We're just talking about how to use it. And then to have to watch those exact issues that we raised, appear as these cracks in the system. For many years, we had a real-time system, and now we have to wait days for any confirmation or rejection of the information on this data reporting. That's a design fault with CSV uploads. It's a design fault with email-based feedback. It was raised by the integrators during the rollout. And now the LCB is saying that waiting for days on that information is a normal part and part of the design of the system, that we have to wait 3 or 4 days to know about it. And this is with your claim of 35% usage or something like this. Real-time APIs are widely deployed across like hundreds of systems and hundreds of departments and hundreds of state governments. It's a well-known technology pattern, and the LCB feels like it's still living in 1996. Another issue with CCRS is that the critical license details are now simply not available in a timely fashion. That is, we all used to know with at least daily updates about a modification to a license in the system, or to a change, or to a creation of a license in the system. And now this information is needlessly delayed by LCB policy that has it published once a week, maybe in a spreadsheet, but also keeping some of this information behind 2 different FOIA requests, which adds an additional delay. When a retail license opens on a new Monday, they would like to get product delivered on their first Monday. And hiding these license details causes issues when attempting to file the legally required paperwork, and the CCRS uploads, and well as the B2B transfer web form that the LCB hosts. Perhaps the LCB isn't aware, but the employee who's the buyer at the retail store doesn't always have that license detail that the owner operator has. And if we're going to make this required data available, like if you're not going to make this data available in a timely fashion so that the integrators can have it in their systems, perhaps you can improve the licensee education and make sure that they know their trade name and this license code and their address and their email and their phone numbers get shared with all their vendors, because the vendors have to manually enter all of this stuff these days. And again, the policy decision of CCRS, it's a good move. It's an innovative move. Getting a third-party technology vendor out of the equation so that the state runs their own systems, I'm all for that. And the previous rollout, though, pretty much ignored your technology integration partners that you had for 5 or 6 years. We'd all love to see the LCB get back to a system with real-time feedback, timely information distribution. you know, you've got a wealth of experience and industry knowledge available to you with your integration partners. You know, there's dozens of us in Washington.
David, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you. Many of us have, like, you know, decades of experience on systems that are even larger than what the LCB is trying to do here. And all of us, I've heard it. We've been in these meetings. We've all offered to help you guys out in some way. And I would just like add at the end, thanks again for the invitation to assist with the testing of these coming CCRS updates. And I look forward to actually being able to get started on that. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, David. Next person signed up is Sammy Saad.
I'm glad I'm here today, and I want to say hi for everyone. Do you guys hear me very well?
You bet. Good morning. Go ahead.
Okay, good morning. I don't have anything against anyone. I don't hate anyone, but unfortunately, I had to receive a phone call from Paula Saldana, and she say, Sammy, I can help you, but you have to stay away from Christopher King and Kevin Shelton and Libby. I will help you, and don't talk about Ellie Garrett. I'll help you. And I said, I don't want to say anything bad about her. I'm just upset because she said she will help me in publicly and in closed door. She said, do not call this phone ever again. If I have update, I'll call you. That's a disrespect and disappointed. That means she's faking. How I'm going to trust her in the LCB? Paula Saldana, when I said that, I'm not going to stay away because just one for myself. I'm Muslim. You say, if you stick with your brother, God with you guys like the third. If you leave them, we'll leave you alone. And I don't want God to leave me alone. And I'm from mixed family with a Jewish family. I know about the Bible as well. I respect Jesus and Moses and John and Jacob. They're all to find guidance, just like the Prophet Muhammad. But unfortunately, when I say that, she say, fuck you. She used the F word with me, Sam. I don't want to say it exactly because it's not right, but she used the F word. Ask Bala Saldana if she say no. And Kevin Shelton witnessed it because I feel she was the species going somewhere else. I find out she have me in three-way. And Kevin there. I met Kevin in Olympia. He said, let's go support us, Sammy. I'm one of the first shop owners. I opened my shop in 2011. I've been having license since 2019, having business in Washington. I have a cannabis shop just like everybody else. We did not being treated equal. If this bill, you guys should respect us and give us what you guys being taken away from us. If you guys know about law, you guys have feeling. My father died, and I've been fighting for this one before he died. And my mom, if she died, I don't have nothing to lose. I'm fighting you guys, but I'm not ISIS. I fight by law. Every money I have, everything I have, and I'm not racist, Mr. David. You help your community, but you're not helping us. You help the Indian community. I wish them the best. They wish get more. But what about us? We start this first. Peter Manny get a license with Ellie Garrett boyfriend, Ned Mayo, with Black Excellent. And they told me, we will make you join with us. If you fight with us, you boss the HB 2870. We did. But they still make it pass. Patty Grew make it, and the senator. And after he spoke to them, he looking for their wisdom and support. And they pass it after they took break, just like you guys today. Guys, let me to speak to finish this, but the community, because they have to listen to this and the general attorney and the FBI and everyone. It's a lot of corruption in this. They have people, they came after us. We started this first, we established. I still file my taxes zero. Peter, you get your job already. Aaron Barfield, he was one of his lawsuit. Very respectful gentleman. Peter, he was very respectful gentleman. He didn't say nothing bad to me, but he lied to me. They get their shop back. Did he give me what he said?
Sammy, you have 30 seconds.
I have my shop. Kevin as well. Libby as well. Because we're black, you recognize the other community. You don't recognize us. Most people over here in this field, from the Jewish community and the white community, the white Jewish. Not everyone. I'm mixed with Jewish. It don't make me better. But and you know what? I been threat. They said I'm not gonna get no license. I'm working at the end. I already get threat from Paula. And how she represent the community. I represent more than 65,000 Washingtonians.
We need to wrap up, please.
Sammy, you're out of time.
People.
We'll hear from you again, I'm sure. Thank you.
How are you gonna catch up with me? I mean,
And we'll move on. The last person we have signed up is Christopher King.
Hello, are we there? Are we running?
You're on. Go ahead, sir.
Terrific. Just one quick, Mr. Saad misspoke. Ollie Garrett's friend is Jim Buchanan, criminal. In the past, he's got paying bad checks, and then recently he was to a litigation with Aaron Barfield with Emerald Hayes, and Aaron Barfield has gone public since that the emails, the text messages I shared with you when he he privately at the time criticized Jim Buchanan as the worst partner he'd ever had, and how he had been involved in hundreds of thousands of dollars of litigation. And I've since shown you that litigation involving his company. So that's a modification of what Mr. Saad was saying. Now let's move forward here. I'm going to clear the air regarding all of this. There's a lot of trash talking about me going on regarding this thing with Red Barn and Vince Sears. Okay, I'm going to make this clear. All right. We asked you more than a month ago. I was out at Martha's Vineyard like 6 weeks ago, when Kevin Shelton and I asked you what it was that enabled them to start to run their operations the way they're running their operations. Mr. Postman said, "Oh, I'll try to get somebody on this. I'll try to give it." Why do you have to try? You know the answers. Just provide the answers. Then I wrote it in a public information request, okay? Nobody responded. You were supposed to respond to me by the 8th. I waited patiently. You did not. So all this glad handing that's going on right now, and everybody's congratulating you on this and that, I'm moving in the right direction, I'm not buying it. And when the podcast comes out, the international podcast, it's going to be clear why I'm not buying it. It's because it's a bad bill of sale. It's a bad batch of goods is what you're offering, all right? Why can't you tell the public the answers to simple questions like that? That you talk about Postman tried to, or I'm sorry, Britt Garza tried to say that Kevin Shelton and I were just now illuminating him to these issues. That's nonsense. There's been news stories about these places going back to 2018, all right? Nonsense. You guys are liars, nothing more and nothing less. You've known about it and you still won't answer the question. Not only that, you have refused to answer simple questions about what happened with the intake when Kevin Shelton tried to apply before. The whole thing with Nate, the Nate Gate issue. You haven't released those documents. You gave us back one document, which was the letter that we already had, okay? So there's no transparency there. You haven't given Sammy Saad his application materials, all right? And Judge Settle in federal court even lied and said he didn't apply. I showed you the proof of his application. So that's not moving in the right direction, is it? Lastly, you still haven't given us the information as to how Emerald Hayes got those licenses, okay? That was all quiet and undercover. So that's not moving in the right direction. That's total lack of transparency, all right? Those are just the facts. So my point, again, about Vince Sears and all these places and Red Barn is not that they should be shut down. My point is that if they're allowed to do it, other people should be allowed to do it. Black, white, whatever, okay? And you won't answer my simple question. That does not in any way breed trust for your agency, period. It's that clear. Furthermore, I have not fact-checked this yet, but I believe that there have been some licenses set aside for the tribes. Listen, I'm part Native myself. I applaud that. But meanwhile, you're telling the black folks you can't have any race-based criteria in the whole
30 seconds.
Thank you, compelling governmental interest framework that I put out, narrowly tailored, compelling governmental interest. I put all that stuff out to you because you may recall I've won civil rights jury trials, right? Which none of you have. But but we can't do it for blacks. We can do it for everybody else, all right? I've had it. Luckily, I have a weekly meeting that usually is right now, but I'm on my way home and I took my lunch hour to have a good time with you and just tell you where we're coming from. Now, y'all have a nice day. And when am I going to get the answers to my questions? Huh? Huh?
Your time, Christopher.
Yeah, right. It's always my time. Bye. Fucking liars. Fucking liars.
Always a pleasure. You can't. You're spoke. Yeah. No, sorry. I know we can't. Yeah. Well, I can talk. Okay. Sorry. for the distraction. That's the end of our agenda. With that, we will adjourn the board meeting today. We will be back next week for a caucus meeting on, we have
EMT this afternoon.
EMT this afternoon, executive management team meeting this afternoon, sorry. So tune in for that as well. Thank you all for your patience today. Thank you for your participation. It was mostly very helpful and useful. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Sorry, Mike, we just can't. Oh, let's review more because then we